Meadows' house. Most of the women from the neighbouring cottages would sport a black eye come a Friday evening when their husbands staggered in drunk, following a belly full of ale. But Eve Meadows had never had to worry about that with John. He was a home bird, which from where Toby was standing only made the situation in which John now found himself all the more heartbreaking. "I was just off for a stroll. Don't suppose you care to join me, would you?" he asked hopefully. Maryann shook her head. "Thanks, I'd love to, but after I've cooled down, I'm going to try and catch a bit of sleep in case me mam needs me during the night." He paused, wishing that there was something he could say to comfort her, but then giving up, he strode away, leaving Maryann sagging limply against the wall. Through the open door, Violet watched him go from her pallet bed at the side of the fireplace. Her expression was hard. It wasn't fair. She'd been fluttering her eyelashes at Toby for months, but he never looked the side she was on. His sights were always fixed firmly on their Maryann. It was no surprise, really, though, she thought to herself resentfully. Maryann had always been the brightest and the prettiest. At least, that was the way she saw it. Maryann could do no wrong in their parents' eyes, whereas she always seemed to be in trouble for something or another. The girl didn't stop to consider the reasons why. The last time she had been scolded, for instance, was because her mother had discovered she had been skiving off school and spending the penny a day it cost to send her there on fripperies, as Eve termed them, from the travelling tinker. How anyone could term ribbons and cheap pieces of jewellery as fripperies, Violet just could not imagine. Surely they were essential items to a girl if she was to look her best, and Violet liked to look her best. Now her hand rose absently to touch her hair. It was lank after all the sweating she had done during her illness, and she longed to give it a good wash. But although she felt much better now, she would not admit it just yet. It was quite nice to lie in bed and have Maryann wait on her, and when she did show an improvement, no doubt Maryann would go back to work, and it would be left to her to fetch and carry for their mother. She scowled at the thought. Violet was still finding it hard to forgive her mother for getting pregnant again. It was disgusting, the way she saw it, and for more than one reason. For a start off, she considered her mother to be far too old to be having another child. She was suddenly no better than the other women in the courts, who bred like rabbits. And secondly, once the brat arrived, she would no longer be the youngest, which was something she had taken full advantage of since the death of her other two siblings. 7-year-old Gertie and 6-year-old Jo had died the year before from measles, which was probably why she had not been sent out to work as yet. Nearly all of the girls of her age that she knew had already been working for years. But Violet hated the thought of having to follow her father and sister into that dirty mill. Most of the people who worked there for any length of time ended up dying of the lung fever from the loose cotton fibres they were forced to inhale, and she had no intention of that happening to her. No, Violet intended to go into service when she had to, and not as a laundry maid either. She wanted to be a lady's maid, at the very least. She had seen them occasionally when she had passed the posh houses, in their frilly lace caps and pretty aprons. A position like that would suit her just fine, for the time being at least. As she daydreamed, she snuggled further down into the lumpy mattress, and in no time at all, she was fast asleep. Maryann was just about to re-enter the house when a cry from her parents' open bedroom window had her springing through the door and up the stairs. "Fetch Granny Addison right away," her father ordered her as he gripped his wife's hand. "I think the baby is coming." "But it's too early." Maryann's hand flew to her mouth as she stared at her mother.